Yes, everybody, how are you doing? Hope you're doing fantastically well. And we are back here. Leeds United Premier League team. 2 wins out of 3. Should be 3 wins out of 3, in my opinion, or maybe a draw. We'll take a draw against Liverpool, but we shouldn't have lost so far. Yeah, really buzzing today. Really happy. I have to shout out already before I even came online. I'm seeing in the chat Blake Rookledge. Just look at that. Keep up the great work, Connor. March on together from Perth. You've done my job for me, mate. You've done my job for me. Thank you so much. As I always say on the channel, welcome to you lot. But as I always say, it's running along here now. Patreons, PayPal, it helps me do this every single day. I want to make this full time. I want to provide 5 videos a day, etc., etc. This is what I want to do full time, and you guys seem to want that too. So any donations really help me live. Live and produce content, survive, pay my rent, all this sort of stuff. So thank you so much for your continued support. It genuinely means the world. It really, really does. So hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing fantastically well. Let's get on with it. But let's have a little bit of a summary of the weekend for Leeds United. A massive win for the Whites away at Sheffield United. Would I have taken that at the start? Good golly, I would indeed. What a win. 1-0, clean sheet. Robin Koch, fantastic. I told you. Mistakes, a couple of mistakes, VAR errors on his part, but a fantastic player. And do we miss Ben White now? No, well, I don't know about the weekend. Brilliant performance from Robin Koch. Meslier, unbelievable performance, absolutely fantastic. Robbie Savage actually saying he's never seen a performance like that from a young goalkeeper in a Premier League match for many, many years. And we all take Robbie Savage as word as gospel, don't we? But a couple of milestones as well for the channel. Yesterday, we did 5 videos that hit 40,000 views in a day. Mental. The watch long did really well, highlights, etc. And as well, we hit 9,000 subscribers. Guys, we're nearly there. We're nearly at the big 10K, and I'll do a big video on that. So keep subscribing. If you're not already, please do us a favor. Rob Giles, thank you so much for your donation, mate. It means the world, as I always say. But let's get into it. Why we're here, we want to talk about the rumours, and we're on the mill. The international room, the transfer window, it's done in a week. We're nearly at the end of the rumour mill. It starts again in January. The end of this year, the channel started with the rumour mill, and it's near the end. But we'll get on to it. I'm hopefully bringing you some solidified rumours that we can get into. So let's get on with it anyway. So the first rumour, of course, on the mill today is about Kerk. Captain Kerk. Gyrano Kerk, or Gyrano Kerk, however you want to pronounce it. The Daily Mail claim that the Yorkshire Giants, it's nice to hear, isn't it? The Yorkshire Giants have opened talks with Eredivisie side Utrecht over a deal to sign Gyrano Kerk before the deadline on October the 5th. It's claimed that Leeds have been working on several deals in recent days, including a move for former target Daniel James, who could leave Manchester United should they find cover in his position. So, yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Kerk for a while. 8 to 10 million. Looks like an absolute steal, doesn't it? Assists on his record, goals on his record. Took Utrecht to 6th in the Eredivisie this season, or last season. So they had a brilliant season. So, he looks like he'd be a really exciting prospect. I don't know if they're going to go for someone like Todd Cantwell or Daniel James as sort of a top 2 priority, but it seems Leeds are in advanced talks, have a fee signed, sealed and delivered, essentially, and Kerk is coming over to Leeds. So that's exciting, isn't it? Someone who's going to put the fear of God into Premier League fullbacks and just general defenses in the Premier League for me. And yeah, another very exciting signing. That's not on other clubs' radar. And that's why you've got to give kudos to Marcelo Bielsa, of course, the recruitment team, and primarily Victor Orta. So what else do we know about Kerk? Captain Kerk. The Whites are leading the race to sign the 24-year-old as their 8 million offer was better than what Utrecht received from Cagliari and Verona. Marcelo Bielsa's side defeated Sheffield United on Sunday afternoon. Sounds good, doesn't it? Robin Koch and Rodrigo both featuring, whilst latest signing Diego Llorente. I presume that meant that he didn't. Kerk has been a rather prolific sensation for the Dutch side last season. He banged in 10 goals and provided 7 assists, averaging 3 dribbles, 2.1 shots and 1.54 key passes per game via who scored. And since the 16-17 season, he's contributed to 8 goals each campaign, seemingly increasing as the year goes on. This guy looks like his output He's extremely efficient. He's very good going forward. And he looks like he fits the percentage model of what we need in the side. He works hard, versatile, can play left, can play right. He's actually played centre forward as well for Utrecht. So if he is on that right side, it does clear up the winger options. It does make a cheap option as well in terms of 8 to 10 million. It's very within budget and means maybe Leeds United can spend elsewhere, which we will get onto in just a bit. But yeah, a lot of people talking about Kerk. A couple of Lord Bamgod comments. Kerk and Cuisance, then we are done. How nice does it saying Cuisance? Oh, what a cracking name that is. Cuisance for me too. A lot of people talking about Cuisance, and we will get into that in a second. But the players that we are linked with, how exciting is this? Now, this is another one on the mill today. United. Oh, I hate saying that. Does anybody else hate saying United? There's many United. There's Newcastle. There's West Ham. There's them. Sharp FC. But then there's us as well. Don't hate it when people call them United. It's Manchester United. There's many Uniteds. Leeds United are the United. Manchester United's recruitment plan has led to speculation over the future of Daniel James, with a host of clubs keen to take the Wales international loan. James was left out Manchester United squad for Saturday's dramatic win at Brighton, who were among the 22-year-olds admirers, blah, 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 blah. Graham Potter saying he's great with him. Obviously, Graham Potter was his boss at Swansea, which is a big link there. We saw that with Ollie Watkins when he went to Villa. The big reason he went to Villa was because of Dean Smith, who managed him at Brentford. So listen, if a player has worked with an ex-manager, it is a massive causal link. They will want to go and play for that manager again. It's comforting, yada, yada. Players don't like to get out of the little zone. But if you're an ambitious player, you want to play for a side where you're going to improve tenfold, you'd play for Marcelo Bielsa, won't you? But there's been rumours apparently that Dan James doesn't want to leave United. So, yeah, I mean, what do you do about that? I'm absolutely fine with that. But, we're moving on to the next part of that. Leeds almost recruited the winger in January 2018. Yeah. We're still interested. England under-21 international Ryan Sessegnon is expected to leave Tottenham on loan. Brighton, seems like we're in war with Brighton all the time. Southampton and Hertha Berlin are currently showing the most interest, with Leeds another potential destination. Ajax could be included, but it is a possibility if left back Nicolas Tagliafico exits the Dutch club. Most suitors would like an option to buy, which, that's what we're probably going to be going for with someone like Ryan Sessegnon, because it's going to be a lot of money up front. It's going to be a hell of a lot of money up front. A lot of people talking about Dan James. We don't need Dan James. Jay Coyle saying there's Colchester as well as United. James has been left out a lot of Man U squads. That's not news. We don't need James. It's a lot of people talking about Cantwell as well, which we'll get onto in a second. Up early in the morning in Columbus, in the States to watch. Thank you so much, Kyle. Appreciate your support and everybody's support that is on the video. But obviously there's more Dan James Brighton links here. Andy Naylor, who is a good journalist, quite reliable in the Brighton sphere. Also from David Ornstein column, Graham Potter would relish a reunion with Daniel James, left out of Man United squad at the Amex. United, Christ, I've done it again, are expected to keep James for now. And he wants to fight for his place. So, yeah, I mean, it's saying that Leeds are keen to, but there you go. If he wants to stay there, he wants to stay there, but we don't know. But Ornstein is normally a really good source. Once again, Ronan Murphy tweeting out Hertha Berlin, Brighton and Leeds are all interested in the loan move for Tottenham's Ryan Sessegnon, according to The Athletic. It's also good to note that I believe this weekend when Leeds United face City, Jack Harrison will not be playing. So it's going to be interesting to see what Leeds go for there. Maybe Paveda in there, maybe a switching formation. Stephen, all Leeds, aren't we? Connor, you should do a watch along for the 23s today. Some very exciting youngsters. Potentially, mate. I've got 2 Patreon videos to do today as well. So if you aren't subscribed to the Patreon, make sure you go do so in the link below. So that's going to be time consuming. We've also got 5 Things, which is out today. Thank you so much there, Maxwell Granger. So let's get on to the next one. And I've just got United in my head now. God, it's that. Christ. Anyway, we're talking Todd Cantwell. We're talking Toddy of Cantwellshire. We're talking the Norwich City, Mr. Norwich City. We're talking Mustard Man, aren't we? Down there, Alan Partridge, his favourite player. It's Todd Cantwell. Todd Cantwell is being spoken about by Nick Mashita, which is the best name I think I've heard for a journalist. Leeds are interested in Norwich's Todd Cantwell, in talks with the Canaries over a 15 million deal, but City naturally want add-ons. Nothing done yet. Personal terms still to be agreed, but wheels in motion. Story on Leeds' move for Cantwell, not done, but ongoing. Now, a lot of people talk. I hate it when people are talking about his attitude. What attitude? What? Because he's got long hair and a personality? It's just, oh man, it does my head in. What? Because you're a little bit different. You don't go through for the mainstay of doing this, that, and the other, the scripted football link. You stay quiet, you do your own thing. You got a person with a little bit of personality. That's great. We've all got a bit of personality. People who've got personality shine, okay? They're not black and white. They're yellow, blue, and white. But you know what I mean? You've got to have a bit of personality in the game. We see this with Calvin Phillips. We've seen it with a lot of our players, but I can't stand this whole remit of, he's got a bad attitude. He's got this, that, and the other. Why? Because he believes in himself. He's got a bad attitude. He's never said anything against the club. He is Mr. Norwich City. And if he moved to Leeds, I think he'd embed himself thoroughly within the system. He's a kid. He's 21 years old. He's got bags of potential. He's very good. This is the thing. You look at his potential. He's a young Englishman. You look at how much. Let's look at Harry Maguire. What, 80 million because he was English. You've got so many players who, because they were English, go for so much money. If Leeds are paying 15 million plus add-ons for an England under-21 international who was very good in the Premier League last season, without Todd Cantwell, Norwich would have been down by Christmas. Let's have it right. They'd have been down by Christmas. We're all talking about Emi Buendia, this, that, and the other, stats-wise, but Todd Cantwell was also pivotal. It was Buendia, it was Cantwell that kept them really in the division for as long as they were. So this whole waffle about his attitude, what's wrong with his attitude? I've never seen anything about his attitude. He just likes the game, believes in himself. Yeah, he's a bit of a social media guru, likes going on social media, talking this, that, and the other. But he never slates Norwich. He never slates other players. He never slates people in the media. He just believes in himself. Fair play. Absolutely fair play. That's what I'd want at Leeds. Someone who believes in themselves. Someone who's a little bit cocksure, got a little bit of attitude. Good attitude, not bad attitude. Why not? And there's a reason that Bielsa's in for him. There's a reason Leeds are officially in for him. If they were that bothered about his attitude, they'd have done what they did with Ben Rama, and just left it. They clearly had an issue with him. I don't know if there were talks. There were rumours of talks between Leeds and Ben Rama. So I don't know if they went well or clearly there was a bit of an issue there. But Todd Cantwell, I never see any issues with him. And I think there's a lot of a scope out for him because he's blonde, bit of a fancy Dan, got white boots, long hair, and he likes his social media a little bit. God, being expressive as a young lad. God, let's all hound him. That's what we should do because that's what we do in the English media, isn't it? We hound the kids, and that's why we've got such a brilliant national side. But yeah, I just think some people just really go at him, and I just think exactly. This is a brilliant way of going about it, says Ben. Look at Gyrano, perfect example. And I just think so many people just hound the lad. I just wanted to get that out there because some people are talking about this, that, and the other about him being, a bad attitude. And I think he'd fit seamlessly, and I really do. Nick Matthews says Melier was given an 8 in my post-match. No, he wasn't. I believe he got a 9 from me. It might have been my dad who gave him an 8. So blame Ian. # blame Ian. Now, let's get on to our Cuisance. Now, breaking. Leeds United are in advanced negotiations to sign Michael Cuisance from Bayern Munich, who sounds like a delicious pastry for around 20 million according to L'Equipe. Obviously, L'Equipe, probably the most reliable source in France. Leo Brunet as well, who works for I believe it's the L'Equipe, saying Cuisance to Leeds in the works. So very exciting news there. We're going to get into him in terms of just the. I think it's hard to describe Cuisance because we don't know that much about him. I've done a bit of research this morning, hence why this was out at midday because I was trying to get a bit of background information on him. And yeah, let's get on to what we know about him. But I think the main rumor that we need to solidify here. This is from a Bayern Reddit page. Now, this is the Bayern's fans' reaction. And I think it's always good to get the opposition fans' reaction on selling a player with regards to him obviously moving on and their reactions. What's a good idea to deplete our very limited depth? What could go wrong? This is a Bayern Munich Reddit, by the way. Yeah, this seems a bit shocking to me, but why? He started to show promise at the end of the season and we desperately need depth. What's the plan here? Someone has come in as well, right? Maybe Wah, who was obviously not going there. But yeah, a lot of Bayern fans was doing a research on some of the rumours that were announced by Get French Football. Obviously, Fabrizio Romano. There are Bayern fans littered in the comments who are not happy, obviously, selling Thiago to Liverpool. Javi Martinez, I believe, is on his way out. Obviously, he's aging as well. Cuisance, I believe a lot of Bayern fans were expecting to be that perfect fit for someone like Thiago, that deep role midfielder, that person who can get hold of the ball and really dictate play. Left-footed, got a wand of a left foot. He always reminds me, when he drops deep, of James Rodriguez. Now, we've seen James Rodriguez play for Everton, get the ball in deep and spray the ball out wide, really dictate play from that deep line role. Deep line role, of course, could potentially be a little bit of an issue in terms of selection for Leeds. But as well, we'll look at Koopmeiners, Koopmeiners who apparently were interested in as well from AZ Alkmaar, the AZ Alkmaar captain, another deep line midfielder. One thing I will say about the first 3 games, I don't think we've looked good defensively in the midfield. I still think we didn't have complete control of the midfield yesterday. I think Sander Berge was the best midfielder on the pitch. I also think that if we're to gain a lot of momentum in Premier League games going forward, 3 games in, brilliant. But going forward, we need to get more control in the midfield for me. I don't think we donned it against Fulham. We definitely didn't don it against Liverpool. And yesterday, maybe 50-50 in the midfield. I thought attacking-wise, we were brilliant. Defensively, we're absolutely fantastic. But in the midfield, I still think it's lacking. It's lacking a lot in that midfield for me at this moment in time. I'd be interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. But yeah, of course, Cuisance, a lot of you guys talking about that. Connor, you still think we need a backup keeper? Yes, I do. It's not because Meslier is rubbish. I never said Meslier was rubbish. It's great what people pick out and put in quotation marks with regards to that. I've had that with Bamford all weekend. Do you remember when you said Bamford was rubbish? I don't think I've ever said Bamford was rubbish. I didn't say he was good. I didn't think he was good enough. But I've also addressed this several times, saying that I was proved wrong. And I'm happy that I've been proved wrong. And I'm so happy for Patrick Bamford. And he looks absolutely brilliant. So it's great what people do pick out. With Meslier, I wanted a backup keeper that could help him through. I wanted Meslier to start week in, week out, but for someone to help him out in terms of Premier League experience, I think that would be vital. Why would that not be vital? You know what I mean? I don't understand. There's going to be times this season where Meslier faces hardships. The first couple of games, some people might say he's made a couple of mistakes. I personally don't think so, but maybe his judgment on certain things hasn't been ideal. It's all well and good after a very good game to come out and say this, that, and the other. But overall, I fully believe he needs someone to help him out just in terms of the general experience of the Premier League. It's a massive step up. Did wonderfully well at the weekend, but of course he needs someone there to just help him out. So for me, yeah, 100% I'd be getting a keeper in as a backup. And apparently we're hearing now that Kiko is apparently on his way. So yeah, we do need a keeper. Let's see Meslier gets injured. Then what? Then what? If Kiko's going, then what? Elia Capriel, we've got a lot of faith in Elia Capriel. It looks like a great talent, but he's a kid. He's a child. We need help. We need help in terms of experience for me in that position. That's just my personal opinion. You guys might think that Elia Capriel could come in and do a great job. I'm sure he could, but at the same time, I think we need more experience in there for me. Premier League experience. Now, Cuisance. This is his heat map of where he normally picks up the ball. As you can see, he sort of goes to the right, his heat map is, but he can play on the right, which is really exciting. Obviously, he's very versatile, but he can pick the ball up deep. He plays in the centre midfield, obviously, but he's a left footer who sort of makes his way to the right, which, as I said earlier, is very, very similar to James Rodriguez. I love left footers in the midfield. It's really good because I feel they're the pure strikers of the ball. He gets the ball. He has some great efforts. I've seen that on a couple of YouTube highlight reels, but he's also very cultured in how he gets the ball out. He's very comfortable on the ball, very technically gifted as well. Hence why he's at Bayern Munich. He's won the Champions League. I mean, we did say that with Kiko Casilla, but Cuisance has got a lot more backing in terms of that the club, the stature of clubs that are after him. We're still talking about Nice after him, Marseille, Newcastle. A lot of clubs are in for him, top level clubs. So he's clearly got a lot of pedigree, and Bayern fans do not want to let him go. Now, this is where he likes to occupy a lot of positioning. Now, with what I was talking to you about earlier, he does like to pick the ball up a little bit central, but he always, as you can see by his heat maps, he does pick up the ball on the right-hand side and dictates play from there. Looks a little bit like Iron Robin there, doesn't he, with how he's cutting in number 11 with that Bayern kit on and using his left foot. But as you can see there, Kingsley Coman on the far side. You look at someone like Jack Harrison there on that far side. You've got Helder Costa there running down the wing. And I believe it's Serge Gnabry. and basically dictate play. He dictates play extremely well. He's not had enough minutes for Bayern, and apparently that's why it's not going well. A lot of people are saying Twitter. Check Twitter, Connor. Okay. We had this yesterday where Connor wasn't checking Twitter and there was some live news. So let's have a look. Okay. Connor is just going to check Twitter because apparently there's been some live news. Square ball. Hey, Mickey Savard. That's exciting. Am I checking my One Leeds account? Stay with me, guys. We are moving on to the Cuisance links. Right, breaking news. Michael Cuisance has told Bayern Munich he wants to play. That's why he has agreed personal terms with Leeds. Bayern and Leeds are negotiating a fee. Are still negotiating a fee. That is very exciting. It looks like, there you go. It looks like Leeds and Cuisance, the lovely pastry, the lovely French pastry. It looks like that's happening. That is happening. It looks like he's agreed terms. They're still negotiating a fee. If Bielsa wants him, Leeds will negotiate a fee. Exciting news. But let's get into his playing style, because I know a lot of you guys will want to know that. So here, once again, he's picking the ball up. This is actually where he scored against Mainz, I believe. He gets the ball, raptures it in the top corner. But this is where he likes to pick up the ball. Now, for me, it's going to be really interesting because a lot of Bayern players, and this is a lot of Bayern fans and players, and clearly see him as a defensive midfielder. And this is what we're going to be talking about. They've played the 4-1-4-1 pivot as well, where he is that single pivot. They've not sort of put him in a double pivot as it would be at Leeds, maybe potentially alongside Calvin Phillips, but I don't see that unless we play the 3-3-1-3 system, which I feel we were deploying yesterday when Stuart Dallas was playing more centrally at points. But this is where he receives the ball all the time, Michael Cuisance. As you can see, he's got the 4 players in front of him, and he's more of a deep line player. So this is where it's going to be really interesting to see him with Calvin Phillips. Is he going to push to an 8? There's a lot of people who are describing him as an 8 as well. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting. But if we get another 8, we've got Clicky as an 8. We've then got Phillips as obviously looking at a 4 or a sort of 6. Then are we going to get a 10? I don't know. For me, we're not getting a 10 if we get another 8. I don't know what you guys think on that. Let me know in the comment section below with regards to that. Romano's tweeted, yes, I can see. Get some chocolate on him. A Cuisance. Yeah, and as this was the Fabrizio Romano treat, breaking from Romano. Cuisance has told Bayern that he wants to play, so he's agreed terms with Leeds, etc., etc. So yeah, very, very exciting news. The lovely pastry could be coming, but it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he's going to be playing. Obviously, with Leeds playing the 4-1-4-1 system, he's not going to play instead of Calvin. He's not going to be on the bench. So for me, he plays in as alongside Click. You can't take Click out, even though I still don't think defensively was great yesterday. You look at the John Lundstrom chance, that was where Click let him go. The Baldock chance, that was Click not tracking back. So are they a little bit fatigued at the minute? Do they need a little bit of help? Someone like Cuisance is going to inject that system. The Bayern play very high press, very dynamic. So it's a similar sort of system. So maybe it's gonna be less of a thing getting into this Leeds system for me. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, someone's just said check their Cuisance Wikipedia. There's a lot of people who've changed everything about his Wikipedia. So let's talk about his positioning. So as you can see here, this is what I was talking about him with the left foot. As you can see, he's probably the furthest back in terms of Bayern players receiving the ball just ahead, and he's got all the, you've got what 4, 5 players ahead of him there, receiving the ball, looking forward as always. And this is what I've mentioned about Cuisance before in a couple of rumour mills. He does get the ball. He's not side to side. He looks forward. He consistently looks forward. And that's what I really like about him. Gets the ball, looks forward. He looks like someone who could put in a free kick as well. He's got a great strike on him. As I said before, very pure. But it's going to be interesting where we fit him in. This is just in front of the back 4 once again, and it's the deep line midfielder thing, isn't it, that we keep talking about. Him receiving the ball there, pointing to get the ball out to, I believe it is Alphonso Davies there, but in that Calvin Phillips role, isn't he? So once again, is he going to be pushed ahead to play in that 8? Receiving the ball here again, from a throw-in, trying to get the ball and dictate play. Obviously, I think you can see Javi Martinez just behind him there. But yeah, a couple of other things to note as well with regards to his interest in Leeds and why he's interested in Leeds. Hansi Flick, I believe he's had a bit of issues with, the Bayern boss. So this is a few things I was able to sort of collate. With regards to Todd Cantwell, we're just going to move on to him in just in a sec, just with regards to why we should be excited if that deal's going to get underway. But sort of the conclusion of Bayern letting him go, he's looking for more game time, which we know with regards to Leeds. He's not going to be coming to Leeds and sitting on the bench. For a player of that calibre, that will not be happening. He's too good. He wants him. He wants him, doesn't he? Marcelo Bielsa, which is really exciting. Flick has been unable to guarantee him the first spot in the first team, even in spite of the lack of midfielders, which is bizarre when you look at his talent. You know, when you look at his talent, we all thought that the Bayern fans thought he was going to be the direct replacement, even without going and getting another signing for Thiago. That is not the case. Cuisance has actually asked for a transfer as well, which is massive. Bayern have told him that he can leave, but not on a loan, on a permanent transfer, which has meant some question his attitude and his willingness to fight for a place in the team. But it looks like he's been fighting for a place in the team for 18 months now, and he's not been given any sort of accreditation with regards to starting him. He's barely played for Bayern. There's no faith in him with regards to starting ahead of whoever's in that mould now. Obviously Thiago leaving, but there's been no, he's bought in a young French player from Borussia Mönchengladbach, and he's not playing. So of course he wants to play. He's only a young lad, and I respect that. I'd rather him want to play than just sit on the bench, which a lot of footballers do nowadays. Most Bayern fans think he's good enough for the team, which obviously is incredibly encouraging. His passing range and ability is second to none with the ball to play at the 10, or he can rotate with Click, which is going to be interesting. Are we gonna be playing him in that role, that 10 role? Because he's very good with his left foot. He can push high. He's got a lot of ability. Is he going to be interchanging with Click? But for me, that rules out the 10 now. Someone like Michael Cuisance, Rodrigo de Paul, that's gone. Obviously, he played yesterday, but that ain't been done. And is Cuisance going to be that player who's going to be playing in the sort of 8-10 role? Really interesting. He seems to be a hybrid for me in terms of an 8 and a 10, which is what I've been talking about earlier. It isn't going to be competition for Phillips in terms of, is he going to be competition for Phillips? I don't know. Obviously with Phillips, if he's not there for injury, we've still got players who can play that DM role in terms of Robin Kerk and obviously Diego Llorente now. So is he going to be playing in that role? Potentially not. And the passing range of him is going to be the reason for me why he's going to be playing in that 6 to 8 role. He's extremely talented and he's had Champions League experience, and he's one of these high caliber signings that Leeds have been looking for me. So I think it's a very exciting signing. Someone who we can look at and think, wow, I think so. Anyway, I think it's a very exciting signing. And let's just move on to Todd Cantwell. In terms of what people were talking about a little bit earlier. Now, why should we be excited over Todd Cantwell? Well, there's multiple reasons for me. Multiple reasons why we should be excited. A lot of people talking about his ego. I don't think he's got an ego. I just think he's confident. I think he fits seamlessly into this Leeds United side with Roberts, Pervada, that little click which we've seen before. He stood up and performed for a team that got battered last year. Stood up and performed. Him and Emi Buendia. And yeah, for me, he was sort of their second, if not the first best player last year. And I just think he's going to be, I think he'd be perfect. And I'd rather him than Dan James. It's my personal opinion. I'd rather him than Dan James. He's very good with both feet. And you're offering me him or Dan James, it's him. Simple as Todd Cantwell. Yeah, he's got relegated, but so what? A lot of people would have taken Callum Wilson. He got relegated with Bournemouth. So I think someone like Cantwell, if Cantwell is going to play on the wing, I would prefer that to Dan James. Just my personal opinion. But yeah, really, as John says here, a bit of swagger may do us a little bit of good, and I completely agree in terms of being able to get the ball and transition from defence to attack very quickly. I think that's the way to go forward. But yeah, someone like Cantwell and someone like Cuisance, for me, that'd be absolutely perfect. I'd like a keeper, as I keep saying, just to help Meslier out in terms of experience. But we've also got someone, as Leicester says here, like Rodrigo, which is very, very exciting. Guys, this has been the Rumour Mill. This has been Connor. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you wouldn't mind liking, if you donate to the channel, as I keep saying, it really helps me out. I want to do this full time. So your guys' support makes me able to do that. Otherwise, I can't, because YouTube don't pay enough money at all. Trust me. So Patreons and PayPal really, really helps. If you wouldn't mind, click on the description below. 20p, 30p will do. We're obviously sponsored by shitbikesusa.com. We will have the 5 Things series, which is going to be out later on, which is the 5 things that Leeds United fans need to watch out for this week. If you are part of the Patreon, there will be 2 more videos out today for Patreon. So altogether, if you are a Patreon, you're getting 4 videos together today. So this is going to be a thing. Obviously, you get exclusive content on there. So guys, thank you so much. Make sure you stick around for One Leeds Fan Channel. And as always, I will see you in a bit.